Alex Jones lately. He was the excited guest on Piers Morgan talking about gun control and some conspiracy theories. Well, he's going to join us now. He's, of course, the star of the Alex Jones Show. It is nationally syndicated through a lot of the radio stations in this country. And Infowars.com is a very popular website that he's involved with as well. Alex, thanks for joining us on the Young Turks.
It's good to be here. Been watching the show for years.
All right, great. And look, I'm hoping we have a productive conversation in the time limit that we have, go back and forth a little bit. So let me start with the first question. You've got a lot of I want to ask you about gun control. We're going to get to that in a second. That's why you've been in the news. But you have a lot of theories as to what's going on. I can't keep up with all the conspiracy theories. Now, and I don't say that dismissively because some of them are true. Gulf of Tonkin is true, of course. You know, I kid around about Operation Gladio, but that was something that the government has admitted that they did in the past, etc. But is there an overarching theme to all these conspiracy theories? What do you think is happening in the world?
It's not my opinion. There are hundreds of books written by the top technocrats in the last 60 or 70 years saying they wanted to design a global technocratic scientific dictatorship because the general public are a bunch of animals and we need to be dumbed down, corralled, and then finally phased out. And Bill Joy, back 12 years ago, wrote for Wired magazine that the future doesn't need us and talked about going to a tech conference with other billionaires where they discussed, do we keep humans around and entertain them, or do we just go ahead and get rid of the majority of the population? And he concluded that the majority of them wanted to get rid of the general population. And so he was writing this article warning people, saying, hey, there's discussions about whether we're just going to kill all of you. And the public said, okay, go ahead and kill us, because they just can't imagine that the establishment is this evil.
Who is it that wants to do this dystopia? Who are these puppet masters or whoever they are, and how many of them are there, and why do they want to kill us? I don't get that part.
Well, the time I interviewed him, he was the head of the Kissinger group, and he said he came on my show to try to convince me global government's the way to go. He said there's 6,000 super gophers that run the whole planet, but there's less than 20 families that own it, and that they're busy mopping up the final countries that were sovereign, and that they're bringing in world government. I mean, there are thousands of articles in the Times of London, Newsweek, Time Magazine, announcing global government run by technocrats. And it's a scientific dictatorship. And if they're successful with their New World Order, people are going to wish later they would have listened and stopped this. These are 170 IQ, top scientists hired by the old robber baron families, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all of them, on record, those old names. You can look up 10 years ago, the Rothschilds and Rockefellers merged their corporate businesses. Last year, they merged their family businesses. People are like, oh, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, ha, ha, ha. These are the families funding all these major world government moves. These are the people funding global zoning under Agenda 21 that is designed to make it impossible to be middle class. They want you poor and controlled. And I've read all their writings, and I'm upset by it because it's a public manifesto of ultra-Hitlerian evil that the globalists are pushing. And you
I profoundly disagree with you. You might not be surprised by that. But look, if you say that some people are in favor of a stronger United Nations, you're right. I'm in favor of a stronger United Nations. I'm in favor of
They call it world government. They call it world government.
Okay, you can call it world government, but I'm in favor. I mean, I could even say I'm in favor of world government because I want all of us to work together. I want the people of Ethiopia.
But it doesn't exist, though. I'm still crazy to talk about it.
Okay, no. So, no, I'm saying I get it, right? But if you say, hey, corporations are incredibly powerful, and they are buying our politicians through their political campaign contributions, etc. I get it, right?
Yeah, they are.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's all logical, because you can see, hey, a corporation is going to make more money if it gets tax cuts, etc. But when you then take the extra step, Alex, and say it's these 20 families, a lot of those families aren't even in power anymore. I mean, if you said it was ExxonMobil
listen,
with their hundreds of millions of dollars in lobbying, that makes a lot more sense than saying Rockefellers, etc., which are mainly doing philanthropy work at this point. That's where I think people start to say, hey, I mean, it sounds a little crazy when you talk about these 20 families and how they're running the world. And why would the families even be against us? Like, what like, they've decided they're going to run the planet with robots? That doesn't sound right, Alex.
No, that's exactly what they say. That's what Bill Joy said, that they now have robots and that they're going to take human decision-making out of warfare with drones in the air, land, sea, and below the sea, and that they're now going to have robot armies, and so they don't even need men anymore who can refuse orders that are unconstitutional. Listen, I know this. This world government is being deployed. It's being set up. It's fundamentally anti-human. The controllers think that humans are a disease. We're overpopulated. We're dumb. We're stupid. They see themselves as another species.
Yeah.
Wells, decades before they openly invented the atomic bomb, wrote about atomic bombs and atomic theory. These guys are way more advanced technologically than the general public knows, about 30 years. They're playing God. That's why they're so arrogant. And they are saying that once the world government's in place, they're going to have controlled releases of plagues that reduce our population down to about 10% of what it is today. And I just think
that sounds crazy, Alex. Come on, look. I mean, look. You know, I just the plagues, and I read somewhere that you think Hollywood's in on it in the zombie movie. Tell me about that.
Well, no. I mean, I know for a fact that Homeland Security, the Marine Corps, the CDC are putting out manuals about what to do during a zombie apocalypse as a
Alex,
pretext.
they were kidding. I saw those memos. They were kidding around, like, ha, if there's a zombie apocalypse,
Listen,
here's what you should do.
Do you actually want me to explain to you what's going on?
All right, go ahead. One more. Yep.
Listen, it's not that I'm looking at their fiction and then projecting things onto it. They show the zombies in all these films dressed up in football jerseys and stuff. It's used as a simulant to create the archetypal imprint. I've talked to top ad people in Hollywood, off record, they admit this, to prepare us to see crowds of people mowed down.